I came for vacation, and I never left.
Meet KC Hardin, a successful corporate lawyer in New York City who took a vacation in Panama and never went back.
But you quit the job before you went on vacation?
No, I made a difficult telephone call. I got sick at some point. I felt that I may have made a mistake.
Now, this entrepreneur runs an organization restoring a historic neighborhood in Panama City while working hard to maintain the community's cultural identity.
I can't imagine that I would ever come to a community that would let me in like this one has. I came to the city for a long trip and I met my wife. That is the greatest gift that Panama has given me by far. For me, I've lived in neighborhoods that revitalized but went too far. I just would like to see it not go that far here. I would like to see it have a balance.
We are in Casco, Viejo, Panama City's Old Town district. We're going to meet Casey, a former Wall Street lawyer who left the rat race and moved down here to help revitalize one of the world's most historic colonial neighborhoods through his organization, El Conservatorio. He spends his days working to renovate some really amazing, cool, and very charming architecture. So let's go check it out. Hi, Casey.
Hey there, Savannah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to Panama.
Thank you. It's so awesome to be here. Can you tell me a little bit of the history about Casco Viejo? I'm already so intrigued.
So Casco Viejo is almost 350 years old. Originally it was built by the Spanish, but really this city has been built by wave after wave of people coming in every time Panama had a big boom. Casco Viejo is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it's got uniquely eclectic architecture. Pretty much every type of architecture in the Americas is represented here.
All in this one neighborhood?
All in this one neighborhood.
You don't even have to go to that part of town. It's all right here.
I rarely leave.
Well, I'm super excited to see the city, and I think you're the guy to show me around, so can we do this?
Let's go.
All right.
My name is KC Hardin. I live in Panama City, Panama. I'm originally from Miami and I'm 39 years old. When I first moved to Panama City, I was introduced to a lawyer in Panama named Ramon Arias. It turned out that we just had very similar visions, and little by little we started doing things together and working together on projects, and at some point we formed a company. The name Conservatorio represents that idea of conserving the authenticity somehow really resonates with us. The way that it makes its money is by restoring old buildings and putting them to new uses. But we're not willing to do that at the expense of the character of the neighborhood, the authenticity. We're not willing to restore the architectural heritage, but destroy the human heritage. So that has always implied that we have a social mission as well.
What was your life like in New York?
Well, I was a corporate lawyer. So you can imagine I spent a lot of time in an office.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought I was good at it. It wasn't something that I left because I didn't like. It was more the idea that there was something more to do. Being a corporate lawyer is like any other corporate job, just maybe a few more hours. You don't leave until the work is done. Sometimes that's that night late, sometimes it's the next day, sometimes it's 2 days later.
Casey came to me in 1998 as a job candidate, and I was struck with him immediately. He basically came in and said, I'm going to work really hard, I'm never going to let you down, I'm going to make you proud, and I really want it.
Like a lot of corporate lawyers, you go into it thinking that you might want to do something else one day. You just find that you don't have that much time to think about exactly what it is you want to do.
How did you end up here?
I came for vacation, and I never left. This was late 2002, so it was a year after September 11th. I think that, for a lot of people, was a moment of reflection to think about what you really wanted in life. And if I look back on it, there's some connection between that and me really deciding that I wanted to see if I could live the life that I dreamed of, see if there was more out there for me. I went to a small island in the Caribbean called Bocas del Toro.
Yes.
It happened to have good surf. It happened to have a small backpacker hotel for sale. And next thing I knew, I had bought it and never went back. I fell in love with that place, and I felt that Panama had something that really was good for me.
What happened with the job? Did you quit the job before you went on vacation?
No, I made a difficult telephone call.
From Bocas, and you just said, I'm not coming back.
From a payphone in Bocas.
I heard directly from Casey that he was going to stay. There was definitely a side of me that was very, very jealous, but also really excited for him because I knew he was going to succeed down there.
And I told him I had this idea that actually was going to happen because I had already signed the contract, and they said, well, you go ahead, do it, you'll come to your senses, when you're ready to come back, the door's open, you got your job back, we'll just put you on a leave of absence. So apparently this happens, this is something that they're used to.
How did you make that decision that you just decided, screw it, I'm not going back there?
I always thought that for me there was something exciting out there. If I would just go look for it, something exciting would come to me. Panama just felt right. It felt like a country where if you wanted to do something a little creative, if you wanted to do something entrepreneurial, if you wanted to do something that was socially responsible, you could find a way to put that all together here. And I had never figured out how to do that in the States. What was left behind, in fact, was stability, was a career that is probably one of the most stable careers you could have. Did I know anything about running a youth hostel? No. It turned out to be something I didn't like doing. I learned later on. For a few months is incredibly exciting. And it's like any honeymoon. The honeymoon always ends. Whether it's a relationship or whether it's moving abroad, the honeymoon ends at some point and you're into the real relationship.
Tell me a little bit about your vision for this hotel.
The building was built in 1917 by my partner's great-great-grandfather. He has taken a special interest in making sure that every detail is exactly right.
And how many rooms are you going to have?
We've got 50 rooms. We've got a big restaurant, we've got dining on the plaza, and we've got a jazz bar, and we've got a big ballroom, probably one of the biggest in Panama.
Can we go take a look at it? I mean, the plans are amazing, but I'd love to sort of get in there and see the process.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well, this is dramatic.
So this used to be a bank, built in the 1920s, and now it'll be an event hall. Weddings in Panama are very big. So what we don't have right now is a very grand ballroom for weddings, and that's what we're hoping this will be.
It's really, really beautiful. I can't wait to see it finished.
Give us 6 more months. So if you'd like to see a great view, I can take you up to the rooftop.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
When I arrived in Casco Viejo, it was 2004, and it was still a very marginal neighborhood. I saw a place that really had all the potential in the world, didn't have a lot of love at that point, but had a small community that were very passionate about it, and they were welcoming to me, and that was a sign that this was where I should really commit.
Well, this is a view.
This is the way to see it, huh?
Yeah.
From here you can see the entrance to the Panama Canal. You can see the Frank Gehry Museum of Biodiversity being built off there in the distance. Panama is one of the most biodiverse places on Earth.
While this whole thing was being built that you can see in the back on the big buildings, did this area sort of become forgotten or like a lost city a little bit?
Panama really started to forget this neighborhood in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And by the time the boom happened there, for the most part, the buildings had been abandoned and were really deteriorated.
So sort of it was kind of as a result of this was this neglect here that then led to people being able to come in and really revitalize it and do restoration, I would imagine.
It started in 1997 when UNESCO designated this a World Heritage Site because a group of Panamanians were very concerned about the area, got together and brought UNESCO here and got it certified and designated. And little by little after that, it happened what happens in these types of areas. The artists started coming, people started coming from around the world, opening restaurants, cafes, small hotels, and it started to take off.
What do you get back from putting all of this into the community aside from it being your job?
For me, I've lived in neighborhoods that revitalized but went too far. And there was always a moment where I was very much in love with the neighborhood, and there was always a moment of sadness when it sort of lost what had brought me there in the first place. And so for me personally, I just would like to see it not go that far here. I would like to see it have a balance. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. Early on, we realized that there was a very similar vision for a neighborhood that was culturally and economically vibrant, but didn't lose its authenticity. But the question is, how do you do that? Hey, Savannah.
We're out of the city.
We are going further.
All right.
Come on.
I like this Panama Pontoon
Listo, Enrique.
boat.
Vamos. So this is Lake Gatun. That's called Gamboa. And right under that bridge is the Panama Canal. Everybody talks about the Panama Canal being this man-made wonder of the world, but it's really surrounded by a natural wonder that's maybe even more interesting. I think one of the beautiful things about moving to another country is you have an opportunity to engineer a lifestyle, and if it's a place you like and it offers things that you like, and if you actually take advantage of those things, you can design a lifestyle for yourself that is really incomparable.
This is sort of your get away from town,
This is
relax time.
Yeah, this is a great way to get away. Jungle, lakes, all the animals that go with it, it's fantastic.
Obviously, the lifestyle here is amazing. You've got your city, you can drive a short distance, come here, go to the Caribbean. Was there ever a moment where you felt like you wanted to go back to the States or you missed it? Or?
I mean, the lifestyle doesn't come out of the box. You don't move and come with a lifestyle. Lifestyle it takes time to engineer it, and it can be frustrating. You know, your first few months you're excited, you're doing a lot of things, and then you realize that the culture's different, and that period after the first couple months, maybe the first year, that's when people, you know, they either adapt and they engineer a lifestyle for themselves that really works out, or they don't. And certainly in that period, there were times where I thought to myself, you know, did I make the right decision? Should I go home? The first time I really had doubts was about a year after I moved, and I had been running the youth hostel, and I got sick at some point. I got a bad fever. I got dengue fever. For a couple weeks, laid up on this little, almost a tree house, which was kind of my room there, and I couldn't do anything for myself. I didn't have anybody to do anything for me. I just felt completely, you know, impotent. And that was the first time I realized that, you know, you really are alone. I felt that I may have made a mistake. I think it was a realization that I'd gotten myself into something that was deeper than maybe I had realized. A friend of mine drove by, threw up a copy of Don't Stop the Carnival. Which, of course, I read that and felt worse. I read it, and it's about a guy from New York who goes down to the island somewhere and buys a hotel thinking he's found the ideal lifestyle. And he realizes that, you know, what looks like ideal when you're on vacation is very different when you're actually doing it. But it was great because I read the book and I said to myself, you know, this is just how it is. Nobody's experience is really unique. This is the things you go through, and, you know, it's just helpful to realize that it was a moment, and no matter how bad you feel, you get through it. And very soon after that, I came to the city for a long trip, and I met my wife, Patricia, who at that point I had just met her a few months before, but we reconnected here in the city, and that is the greatest gift that Panama's given me by far, and there have been many, but that is the greatest. Welcome to Canal House. There was a point a couple years after we started the company that we realized that the neighborhood needed hotels. We happened to find somebody who had just bought an old semi-restored mansion. What we ended up doing was the Canal House. It's a 3-room bed and breakfast, and it was the first high-end hotel to be built in Casco, Viejo in 100 years. What was really interesting and exciting was not just the building of a nice hotel, which is interesting and exciting, but also the way you could tell a story about Panama through building the hotel. That was really interesting. For me, creatively, that's been the most fun thing that I've gotten to do while I'm down here.
It's the nicest bed and breakfast I've ever seen.
What I love about Canal House is that it's just full of wood. You step on the stairs and they creak. You know that you're in a place that has a history.
And did you always have sort of a sense of aesthetic and design? Was that something you were interested in?
I think a lot of it developed down here. I think that I'm around people, my partners, they're just very creative people, and so I've really discovered Panama through their eyes, and especially old Panama, and the history of Panama through their eyes, and that's been great. So, welcome to home.
I like home. Now I know why you live here.
Let me introduce you to Patricia.
Hi. How are you?
Patricia, Savannah.
I'm Savannah. Nice to meet you. Let's hug.
Welcome. Welcome to the Paris.
This is outdoor dining at its finest.
Amazing.
My wife Patricia, she started to really fall in love again with the neighborhood. She had grown up dancing here in the National Ballet. And when we started the business, we floated the idea one day that maybe she'd like to come work in the business. And that was a big step for her, but to her credit, she said yes.
How long have you been married?
You know, we got married actually on that beach right there.
Oh,
It was a beach party. It was that beach. And then from there we walked and we had the reception right there at Canal House on the corner. It was a big party.
That's what a wedding should be, a party, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you plan it in 6 days. you
Oh
know?
my goodness.
And she wasn't pregnant.
Okay,
No.
yeah.
So this little tomato that you see here, this was grown in our yard right here.
Oh.
But it's from a new NGO that's called Urban Gardens. And they're teaching kids how to grow their own food locally. Yeah, it's a
And
big
it's all
garden
grown
also.
here in town, like right?
In town.
You guys have so much going on here.
Yeah, you know, that's the fun thing about Casco Viejo, and that's a lot of why we are here. It's because it gives you this opportunity to really interact and make a difference and be part of it, you know?
A little bit different than New York.
A little bit different than New York. Very different than my New York was, that's for sure.
What was it like adjusting when you first got down here? Did you think it was home immediately, or?
No, and when I first got down here, I ended up on an island on Bocas del
Yes,
Toro.
on
And
an island.
it's a very small island, so it was a huge culture shock going from big to small. As much as a small island from the outside looked like an idyllic place, I realized that I need medium. I don't need New York big, and I don't need small island small. I needed something in the middle, and Casco Viejo in Panama City was that for me.
It's funny how you can look over there and see the ocean and everything, and then there's the big buildings.
Yeah, the new and the old, no?
Yeah.
And here we are in the middle.
Where are you taking me now, Casey?
We're going to the Conservatorio.
Okay, what's the conservatorium?
So this was the first building that we ever restored. It was the first one that we bought. Ramon found it. It was abandoned. It had been the National Music Conservatory. So we opened it to artists, and none of them wanted to move in. They were too afraid of the neighborhood back then. And then a few years ago, our musician laureate, Danilo Perez, who's a Grammy-winning jazz pianist, wanted to bring his foundation back here because this is where he learned to play music when he was a kid.
Right here in this building?
Right here in this building.
Oh my gosh, so there's class going on right now?
So there's class right now.
Can we go watch one?
Let's go see.
All right.
Oiga lo que yo canto, canto de corazón. Lo que está, lo sé sentir rumbo y el ritmo lo pone a gozar.
Seeing a social program that not only enriches kids' lives and gives them a safe place to be during the day, but also just brings music into the neighborhood is like a trifecta. There's kids from that neighborhood who have studied in his program and have gotten scholarships to New England Conservatory, scholarships to Berkeley, and now they're coming back to the school to teach other kids from the neighborhood how to play music.
No, you guys are the good ones. Thank you for letting me try. Muchas gracias. Ciao. Hi, Patricia.
Hey,
How are
just
you?
in time.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Everything good? Fantastic.
Yes. How could it not be good? What are we doing today?
We're gonna do a small garden. So our section number 1 of the work is gonna be carry all these plants there. Section number 2, our helpers, star helpers, are taking already the vertical part, which is gonna be a bunch of tires that we're gonna decorate, and then hopefully eventually we'll put plants so they fall, you know, it's gonna be
Great.
nice.
Well, put me to work. I'm ready to get started.
Yeah.
Come along with me, break some bread with me. I'm sure you will agree. You've never felt so free. I never knew what I was living without a doubt now.
My wife Patricia, she's very passionate about doing things that take a lot of energy, like doing the garbage cleanups and setting up the garbage cans that the neighborhood didn't have, and organizing kids programs to beautify the neighborhood. That's the kind of stuff that she does really well, and the neighborhood wouldn't be the same without her. So this is Las Clementinas. This is a little 6-room hotel that we finished about 2 years ago, and it's got a restaurant and a bar and a beautiful garden, and it's turned out to be one of my favorite places to be.
One of your favorite places to be is definitely somewhere I want to try after everything you've shown me.
All right, well then I'll buy you a drink.
All right. This is a nice little courtyard.
This is the Garden of Las Clementinas.
Beautiful. Cheers. Or salud. Salud.
Salud.
Well, this is a really special life you have here, Casey. I've been so inspired by it. It's just incredible to me how you've managed to, work your commitment to the community and then also have an incredibly successful business. Is this home now? Are you done?
This is definitely home. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. I can't imagine that I would ever come to a community that would let me in like this one has. I just don't think that happens too many times in your life, and when it does, you really have to grab it and appreciate it and nurture it.
What do you see for the future of your organization and then how you'd like to grow that? But I guess that's completely intertwined with your business as well.
It's all trying to, be a part of a community that's trying to grow and revitalize without losing its character and its soul and its authenticity. And, I've seen that go very badly in other places, and I hope it continues to go well here, and I hope we can continue to be a part of helping it to go well. But really only time will tell, and I just think we're going to be here a long time trying to make that happen.
10 years is a long time to be committed to a new country, and you've barely been back. What have you learned from that experience being down here?
If you ask me, did I learn anything? My answer to that is, it's probably more important what I had to unlearn. The journey of discovery is more about finding new eyes to see things with than it is about finding new landscapes to see. You think you have all the answers, you think you know how people work, and then you learn that there's a lot of different types of people, and different people work in different ways, and you can't force your reality on the world. If you live life appreciating those layers, then nothing's ever wasted. Everything was great. And I do look at whether I was studying film or being a lawyer or being a surfer, all those things have made this a better experience, and those are the things that make you who you are.
Well, I can certainly cheers to that again. Salud.
Salud. I think one of the greatest blessings is to be able to figure out what you want to do with your life. And to figure out that in a place that really suits you is really a dream.
He's working hard, but he's working hard for himself now and working hard for a different kind of purpose. He's a great model to follow.
It's the maintaining those relationships, perfecting those relationships where the happiness comes. You got to connect with the people there, because that's how you help to see things in a different way. And that's what the journey's really about.
Hotel Las Tortugas. This is actually the beginning of nature tourism. We would protect the nature here as our tourist attraction.
This is a really popular area for monkeys. They need lots of variety of trees and a lot of area to move around and eat leaves year-round.
Surfing is what brought you down to Costa Rica originally.
Well, adventure, and the surfing was a big part of it.
From this incredibly happy life that I was leading, which was doing exactly what I wanted to do, I felt like I have a responsibility to
Show the world what an important natural environment we had to protect. Just amazing to stand up here and see how lush and beautiful all this still is.
Pharrell Williams here.
Hi, I'm Joy Bryant,
I'm Eric Ripper,
I'm Tom Colicchio.
I'm Dr. Frank Lipman,
the host of On the Table,
the host of Across the Board,
host of Artist Talk,
Host of Hooked Up.
host of the show Be Well Week, Be Well Weekend on the Reserve Channel.
It's only on Reserve.
Did you know that you can follow my show on social media sites like Facebook?
Follow us on Twitter.
If you're a fan of my show, hit the like button.
All of the above.
share me with your friends.
Treat yourself. Check out a new episode of my show, Hooked Up.
And if you want to leave comments, feedbacks, ideas, whatever, love to hear from you. Leave a comment.
And if you don't want to miss the show, be sure to subscribe.
The one that's like down here, or is it here? Somewhere down here.
Thanks for watching the Reserve channel.
Only on YouTube. Throw caution to the wind and ask yourself what rules.